Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your local problematic Leo. Today we're going to be taking a look at Color CL's latest release in their Siesta Black collection. Now, we've actually got two different styles we're going to be taking a look at. One that I kind of consider the updated hidrocor, so like hidrocor 3.0, hidrocor back with a vengeance, you know what I'm talking about? And then another one that I refer to as like tapas or a buffet. It's got a little bit of everything in the style, but as channel tradition dictates, I need to show you my naked brown eyes while I read you the stat. Now, for both styles, the lens diameter is 14.1 millimeters, the graphic diameter is 13.5 millimeters, and the base curve is 8.6 millimeters. Now, each pair does last 6 months after opening and comes in prescription at no additional cost. These ones are going to run you about $20 a piece. However, Color CL is currently doing a sale, some kind of sale. They're always up to something, but if you want to use my discount code ROB10 at checkout, I think they stack. It'll get you an additional 10% off of your total. Maybe. I think I heard somewhere that it works last time from them. Give it a shot, Rob10, and see what happens. And if you, in addition, want to help out the channel just a little bit more, feel free to go ahead and bookmark my affiliate link, which is listed down below. Every little bit helps. Alrighty, so before we take a look at each of the individual colors, let's have a quick chat about construction. Now, we are going to be taking a look at two different styles. The first I'm going to refer to as the return of the hidrocor. Now, if you don't know what a hidrocor lens is, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't know if I kind of like meshed a style from a different company and started calling it just the average style. You know how like Kleenex is tissue, but not all tissue is Kleenex? It's kind of like one of those things. But to me, hidrocor lenses are basically like lenses that don't have a limbal ring. So they kind of blend out into your own natural limbal ring that you create, and you get a really natural deepening of the outer side. Doesn't work the greatest with people with small eyes, but we'll get into that when we take a look at the colors. Now, what I was gonna say about this is I took a look at some of my older videos at the oldest hidrocor lenses that I had, and they did not have this patterning. You know how I like the really like the Y's and the V's and the U's and the little really natural texturing, you know, when they do the macro photography of the eye and you see all the little not swirlies, but you know, the little bits. This has the little bits instead of the lines, because we used to always get the linies. So now we have the really natural texture, which I really love. There are a couple different layers into this one. I want to say there are like 3 in total that create a really nice level of depth within it, and some color variation as well. I really like them a lot. The next one is what I refer to as like the buffet. The one that's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of the U's and V's and texture that I really like. It's got a nice little thin limbal ring for us that don't necessarily have the same shaped eyes. You know, I'm just putting it out there. Some of us got a wonky eye, and we gotta fix that. And it's also got this kind of like cloudy layer that gives a little more opacity, so you get an oomph of color, but you still get texture, but there's like different levels of opacity. You'll see it in like the side image that I have here, where it's almost kind of like smoke, and it's like a 2-layer thing, but it's also got the limbal layer, and then it's also got the texture. It's really nice. You get a little bit of everything. It's like tapas. You just like have a little bit of this, have a little bit of that. It's all delicious. Alrighty, so kicking things off, we have Autumn. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, this is probably my least favorite color of the bunch. However, if you are a longtime Color CL fan and you remember like their original Siesta version in like orange or like cinnamon, this is basically that, but upgraded. It's got the really cool texture. It's got a little bit of layering going on, so it does have that very ambery tone, but it also has just a bit of like a slight weedy, yellowy, hazily tone in it. And then the limbal ring, I don't even want to call it that, but it's kind of like the shading area on the outside is kind of like this warm brown. Now, it really just translates as like creamsicle in my eyes, which I definitely enjoy. However, I think my biggest pain point on this one is the fact that I do have smaller eyes, and hidrocor lenses do tend to bleed out into my sclerella, which is the white bits of the eye. And for some colors it's forgivable, but because of the fact that this is orange, it kind of like has this weird hazy orange ring around my eye that makes me look just a little bit unhealthy. And we'll talk a little bit more of that bleed out, because there's sometimes where it's like, oh, that's not bad at all. However, in this case, this one doesn't necessarily mesh with me. However, if you are longtime fans of orange and cinnamon, this will be right up your alley. Next on the list, we have Twilight. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, when I first looked in the blister, I was a little bit weirded out because there were like flecks of red in there that kind of almost combined to make it look a little purpley. However, I think that is the key to the blending that is going on right now. As many of you guys know, blue and brown don't necessarily blend the greatest. However, when I was taking a look at these in my own eyes, I was shocked that it wasn't like a really harsh drop-off into the blue, and I think those flecks of red kind of blended in with my own natural eye color, so it has a really nice like fade in to the brown of my eyes. And when we were talking about it earlier in the autumn, how the color kind of bled into the scrollera, this one definitely does the bleed thing. However, I feel like since it's a little bit darker and it is blue, it's kind of like more of like a shading. When I first put them into my eyes, they do kind of float and move a little bit, but once they settle, it kind of just has like that aura of darkness, which I kind of like about these lenses because they're not necessarily like a bright blue lens. They're actually a little bit richer and a little bit deeper, and the fact that they blend in with my own natural eye color, I'm kind of into it, especially at conversational distances. When you're a little bit closer, it doesn't look, I won't say it doesn't look as great as it does when we're like right here. You know what I mean? And most times we're gonna be right here, because unless we're getting up close and serious, then probably maybe don't be staring at my contacts. Stare at other things. Alrighty, so Suncloud is the final color in our hidrocor style, and let me tell you, this one is a bit of a throwback. Now, I don't know if you guys were around for like the Siesta creams, but this is definitely kind of like right there in that tonality. However, instead of being like a creamy browny color, this is more like a creamy sage, and it's absolutely freaking gorgeous. When I looked at it in the blister, I wasn't sure which way it was gonna go, but I put it in and I was like, holy crap, it's beautiful. Now, because of the fact that it's so light, there are a couple things that happen. On my own dark eyes, there's a lot of contrast, so you see a lot of the texture, which is absolutely gorgeous. Also, because of the fact that it is lighter, when it bleeds into the sclerola, you don't actually see very much of that bleed out at all. It's just really, really pretty. However, because of its lightness, it does have a pretty drastic drop off into my own natural eye color in the center of my eyes. So there's little bits of trade-offs here and there. However, overall, I think that it's absolutely gorgeous and kind of a bit of a throwback, but like an upgraded throwback. And I'm gonna be honest with you, whenever I put on those Siesta creams, I felt like a bad bitch. So these are a little bit extreme, but these are definitely like some nice bad bitch lenses. Really, really fantastic if you wanna like snapshots for Instagram. Like, number one, gives you a nice big change, but also it's got a lot of texture in it, so it looks really good in the eye. You know, just feel yourself a little bit. So, sliding into our next style, we have Truffles. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, this is a bit of a basic brown. However, it does have a nice little chameleon effect to it. In like cooler light tones, it does kind of come off as like a teddy bear brown. However, when you've got some nice warm light, it does pick up on that, so it does brighten things up a little bit. Now, I think my favorite thing about this lens is that it's got a good contrast between the limbal ring and the actual inner eye color, because it does have a little bit of a pop to it, which I like when it comes to brown lenses. There's always something to be said about something that accentuates your own natural eye color. Now, I'm not necessarily 100% feeling it today, but I can definitely see the use in these ones, and the style itself is absolutely gorgeous. Moving along, we have Northern Ice. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I am a little bit torn on this one because in natural light, they look like this kind of like dirty, medium to dark blue denim. Not like it's like a dark medium denim, which I really, really like. In fact, I love the fact that Color CL isn't necessarily doing insanely bright blues. I feel like it's a little bit easier to wear a toned down blue. However, this one does still have a little bit of a pop to it, which is kind of where the issue arises. When I get into more artificial lights, the blue tones in this become like way more reflective and they become a lot more like aggressively blue with a slight hint of like green in them, which I didn't notice as much in natural lighting. So they do have a little bit of a transformative quality. If you like a little mindfuck moment, these might be some good blues for you. I do feel like when you get full on light, they turn into that, I don't know if this is actually the color of Superman's eyes. Maybe they're not. Now that I think about them, they're probably not. But like when you think of Superman, do you think of blue eyes? Because I think I do, and I think that these are the kind of blue eyes that Superman would have. Oh my god, I probably made that completely up, like the hydrocor thing. Listen, anyway, when I picture Superman blue eyes, these are the kind of blues that I really see, especially with that light coming in. I think that depending on the light, they might be a little too much for me. However, I do like them enough to play around with them just a little bit more. Alrighty, so you guys know that I saved the best for last, right? We are closing things out with Riverstone, and let me tell you, number one, it's a gray lens, so you guys know that I'm gonna have a little preferential treatment on this one. However, it is a very well balanced gray that maybe in some lights can look the teensiest bit blue, but in most cases, it actually swings a little bit gray-green, which we don't see necessarily too much. Now, keep in mind, it always looks gray. It never looks like, oh, all of a sudden it's blue, all of a sudden it's green. No, 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 it's like gray, but it's like gray with like a hint, like someone breathed the word green onto the lens. And then of course I've got my own natural brown that kind of like melds with it. And because of the fact that the patterning has like the natural V's and W's, but it's got that smoky kind of quality that's going on in there too. And it's got the limbal ring. It's just like a smorgasbord of all of the things that I love, especially because of the fact that it's not like a bright gray lens. It's actually, you know, dark and sexy. It's one of those necessarily unclockable lenses. So it just feels good. It feels right. It feels like all is settled with the world and my peace is being respected. Can I just tell you, these are definitely my favorite of the bunch. And you know, if you're looking for some like grown and sexy lenses, but you want to have a little bit of a mindfuck quality with them too, because they swing a little bit in shade, but not too much, but just enough to be like, are they wearing lenses? Are they not wearing lenses? Are those lenses grayish, greenish? Are they maybe just gray? Maybe a little hint of blue depending on where you're at? I don't know. I'm just having a lot of fun with these, and these are definitely, you know, when something makes you feel good, you just want to put them in all the time. Usually there are names attached to them, but you know what, I'm gonna shut up now before I get myself in trouble. Alrighty, so that about does it on my take on Color CL's latest launch. They're always up to something new and cool. Let me know how you guys feel about them down in the comments below. Now, when it comes to my suggestions for this launch, of course, it's gonna be Riverstone. I think you guys can tell what lenses are really gonna tickle my pickle. Wow, I really don't like that phrase. I don't really like pickles that much either. They're okay, but Riverstone is absolutely gorgeous. I also really do like Truffles if you're looking for something to kind of brighten up your own natural eye color and also fix your eye if you got like a wonky sized eye, you know, little limbal ring action, never hurt nobody. And last but not least, if you're feeling your bad bitch self, go ahead and check out Suncloud. That was a nice throwback. I was like, oh, I remember these. I remember some photos I did with these on Instagram. Great Instagram lenses. But that about does it for me for now. Don't forget to use code ROB10 at checkout to get an additional 10% off of your order. And if you like what you see here, please go ahead and bookmark my affiliate link down below. Now, as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. And there goes the sunlight.